You're still watching the conversation on Lagos television. At this moment on the show, we'll be looking at the raging tide of drug and substance abuse in our society, especially among our youth. They mix different kind of concoctions, and sometimes when you see them misbehave, one begins to wonder what exactly is the impact of these substances and the advantage or the pleasure that they derive from these substances and drugs that they take. This morning, we'll be looking at drug and substance abuse crisis in Nigeria. And we have Dr. Dokun Adedeji, CEO, Compassionate Care Recovery Initiative, with us in the studio. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much.
I know this is one topic that is very dear to your heart, and a couple of times, especially around Agidimi here, I see some of our youth misbehave, and I wonder to myself, what exactly is making them behaving in this manner? What exactly are they mixing together that is making them high or misbehaving?
Thank you. You know, the thing that I need people to understand is this. There are all kinds of substances available there for them to use, even from the ordinary to the prescription and even to the ones concocted by themselves, as I said about solution. The thing that I say to people is this. It's easy to blame the youth, the youth. But they didn't drop from heaven. Right. They're a reflection of who we are, a reflection of society they found themselves, and the things they saw. Somebody led them to it. You know, I saw a video yesterday, and they were showing some little kids about kneeling down, carrying something. Then people, I said that was an abuse. I mean, those are 10-year-old. Why are you focusing on them? Some people sold those things to them. Some people manufacture these things. Why don't we look for those ones? But the thing that we all need to know is about substance. That's why we don't call it drug abuse anymore. We call it substance abuse. Because there are all kinds of things that people... Mixtures. Some like that. Even some that you see on a daily basis, like methylated spirit. You know, so when you see those things and even naturally occurring substances, then we need to worry as a country about what we're going through. But, you know, what bothers me more is that our country, particularly maybe the society, we're not seized of the problem we're in. It's huge. Right. In 5 years' time, it will be much worse. Much worse.
I'm glad you told that path, because I was going to ask you that, again, sometimes we misuse words. And so I was going to ask that the issues around substance abuse as we speak today, are we really in a crisis, or are we nearing a crisis, or are we even overboard a crisis? Because usually when people say menace, I'm like, can we look for a softer word or a mild word? But take us through it, because this is what you do, and you interface with a lot of people, age grade, and I'm glad again you tried to disabuse our minds from the fact that it feels that we're concentrating a lot on the youth, but it is not just about the young people. It cuts across. It cuts across age. It cuts across gender.
Right.
And so where are we as a nation? Are we really in a crisis?
I thank you both for this. I tell you, I would suggest that we're close to an epidemic, which means a crisis. Let me share with you a bit of relevant statistics that we are up to date. In 2017, the UNODC, United Nations Office of Crime and Drugs, did a global survey of the prevalence rate of use of drugs across the world. They found that globally the average was about 5.6%. For Nigeria, it was 14.4%, which was close to triple global average. And when you look at it numerically, it came to about 14 to 15 million Nigerians who had used drugs the previous year. That was 2018. By 2020, when Oliver Stopp was going to speak at World Drugs Day, he said it had gone to about 20 to 25.
From
what it was, million people.
Right.
And you know what they should scare us in the last World Drugs Day celebration in June is estimated that by 2030, there'll be global increase of 10 to 11% in use. In Africa, it'll be 40%.
Wow.
So you can then begin to understand where we are at. And then the survey covered the age range of 15 to 64.
Right.
Although they found that the preponderance of use was found between 25 and 39.
Okay.
And you know what? When I try to draw significance to Nigerians, if you look at the age bracket of 25 to 39, that's the productive sector of any nation.
Right.
So if your productive sector is so bad, then you can understand what it is. And you know what scares me, again, the more, I've seen people 8, 9 using drugs. So, and then you begin to ask yourself, hey, what's happening? And these are primary school kids.
Right.
And so then you can begin to understand that we are sleeping and we are waiting only for NDLEA. But I dare say, with due respect, that the work for NDLEA is overwhelming. They can't. Nigeria has a huge population. NDLEA can be in Ikeja.
Sure.
It can be in your street, it can be in your school, it can be at the parties that you have. So, hey, I think it's more of a collective.
Right.
We all
And
need
just
to
one
rise up
agency.
and absolutely and
Okay.
deal with it.
So what's then, from your research and statistics, would you call the consequences of these over-dependence on drug and substance abuse? And then, is it more in urban centers than rural areas? It's same everywhere.
Shockingly, it's even now increasing in the rural areas.
Where ordinarily you'd have thought
You
that
would think
it shouldn't be found.
But you know, people move.
Right.
And people find way to. Okay, let me give you an example. Like during the COVID, when people couldn't go out, people were concocting their own drugs in their homes. And you know, the thing is, if you look at the rural areas, there are certain things that are naturally occurring that people are now beginning to use as substances. Like in the south, they call it gegemo. Gegemo is a plant. It has raw fruits on it. And you know the leaves are boiled like boiling vegetable.
Yeah.
And then the liquid from it is extremely psychoactive. And then when that is done, then they can use the fruits. I mean, I want to be careful about naming them so that
the
people don't
things.
go
Don't
look,
go
for,
look
them.
for them.
But the thing is, there might be a bit of dichotomy or discrepancy about the numbers in terms of rural and urban, because in the urban, it comes in first
Right.
before it's distributed. You know, so, but I think we should worry about the general use, about the prevalence across every profession. And I tell people, people think drug is staple of the motor park. Not true. Doctors use, nurses use, pilots use,
Yeah.
bishops use, church people, everyone. So it's
Doctor, I mean, sometimes when these things do come up, you know, things you just imagine. And I like the fact that, again, when these conversations are up, we always try to demystify fixed mindsets. Because, again, when you hear substance abuse, people assume that it's for
criminals.
Yeah, criminals.
Oh, yeah.
And I like the fact that you said doctors, nurses,
Everyone.
professionals can also be found abusing substances. Now, what drives people to abuse substances? Because we've also realized that, I mean, a case that readily came to my mind is that of Michael Jackson. He died of substance abuse. And, you know, I think I was discussing this with, you know, my husband, because he's also a doctor. And I said to him, can you please just educate me on why certain medications will give some kind of euphoria when you use them, some anesthetics or some kind of medication will just give you some feeling, funny feeling, and you just want to stay there for a period of time. So what drives people? Because we also understand that some of these substances are also medications.
Absolutely.
And not necessarily substances that are concocted. There are also medications which ordinarily you should not be able to buy OTC. So please take us through, how do people get to that stage where they begin to abuse these substances?
Okay. You know, the thing is, and this is what I've always spoken about, that the media should be extremely more involved in this issue of substance abuse, because the information you give will be genuine
tight,
and
right.
people then will know. And it should also be a relevant thing on a regular basis. Let me start like this. For understanding, I categorize substances that are of common use in Nigeria into socially acceptable. Number one, alcohol. You know, the statistics that I reeled out, alcohol was not enumerated Alcohol is the most abused drug in the world. But people don't know that alcohol is a drug. They say, oh,
It's
alcohol.
pleasure.
Yeah, no, it's not. But the same induction of pleasure with alcohol, the same with drugs. Yeah, because it's central nervous system mediated. And then the next one you call illegal drug. Everybody knows about that. You talk about marijuana, you talk about
Cannabis.
heroin, all those things. But you know, the thing that today you must know, in marijuana, there's synthetic marijuana, Colorado, Arizona, loud, and all those. And then there's something called ice,
Yeah.
which is crystal meth. And then you come to prescription drugs that you mentioned. You know, if I give you a history, there's a book written by Beth Macy. Beth Macy, she called it Dope Sick. She wrote the book, she followed it from the early 90s, how Americans became addicted to opioids.
Right.
You know, people don't like pain.
True.
So when you give, that's why it grew in America, one level of opioid to another. They started with little one, then they went into opioids, synthetic opioids, like fentanyl, and then like the one that killed my kid escaped me now.
Yeah.
And what happened was because he was scared of pain, and then was taking, and then he even had a doctor
Who was
administering it, but he then gave himself an overdose. And you know, when these things are done, it affects the heart and the central nervous system, and the person can just go. But fundamentally, from what we found, the thing that push people, in spite of the excuses they give, is there's a void in each man. There's something that is lacking. And that is something that somebody is looking for to replace the void. And you know, I say to people, when we blame people who use drugs, the first time is not by choice.
Right.
This could be by experimental use, it could be for one reason or the other, maybe persuasion, or maybe practice, or to pressure to belong.
So, but you're going back.
But when you not, so when you now take it the next time, becomes conscious because you wanted it. And this is what happens. If, for instance, I give you something, you take it, you don't like it, you say, oh, what the heck? You will not likely do it again. But if you take it and say, oh my God, when I took it, I felt cool.
I love the feeling.
Yeah, I love the feeling. And you know what usually happens truly is this.
Right.
There's a high with use.
True.
Because it's central nervous mediated. There is a hormone of pleasure called dopamine. And when you do something and you enjoy it, not only about drugs, it could be sex, it could be pornography, it could be any addiction.
Right.
It elicits a certain feeling of pleasure that you now associate with it. So every time you feel down, every time you
go
feel,
back to that stuff.
I understand this. He does this for me. It's like somebody who drinks stout and who drinks, and I say, why do you drink? He says
A particular brand.
Yeah, oh, sorry, I'm sorry about that. I take it back. A particular brand of alcohol. Then he says, oh, it makes me sleep. But my question is, before you met alcohol, how were you sleeping? But you know, this thing is perceptual.
Yeah.
It is not a uniform feeling. It's something you dictate to yourself. Oh, when I did it, it did this for me.
And then you make yourself believe it.
Absolutely. You
And
got
you
it.
get addicted.
That's
Addiction
and it builds.
starts.
You know, it starts with like, there are 5 steps to addiction. Initial use, which I mentioned. Then it goes to abuse. It goes to dependence. It goes to tolerance. And it goes to addiction. So...
Okay. The other time I put a question to you as regards the consequences of this growing dependence on substance abuse, and then for some people it is a mental condition, for some people it is a crime. Where exactly can we place it?
You know, I'm glad you said that. Addiction is a relapsing chronic brain disorder. That's what I want people to. And you see, that's why we must change our attitude to people who use drugs. It's not a criminal offense. Don't criminalize the use. Criminalize the purchase, the importation, and the dissemination of it. But the person who uses drugs is a victim. So when you punish a victim, that's double jeopardy. The guy, for one reason or another, I've never seen a person who wakes up and says, oh, I want to use drugs, I want to be an addict. It doesn't happen. But we all have seasons of misadventure that can lead you into. But the consequences are what we should worry about. You see young people stand, not only young people, you think they are standing, they come all kinds of form, they're sleeping.
Yeah.
You see all kinds of postures. I mean, you will not believe it. Some of them are sleeping. They are not even aware
Of what they're
is
doing.
good. So somebody comes and slaps them. Then they wake up and then they begin to, and you can see them all over Lagos. And the consequences are what you mentioned, crime. The rate of crime increases, but it doesn't mean that an addict is a criminal.
Right.
I hope you understand what I'm saying. Because the tendency in Nigeria is to be judgmental. That's why we're not getting results. When we're judgmental, there's no tendency for self-report. Look, I tell you, many of them cry. They don't want to continue. But where did they get help?
Right.
Who do they turn to talk to?
To help them.
And then they say, and then so we profile them.
We stigmatize.
We stigmatize them.
Yeah.
Those are some of the things we're trying to fight against, discrimination and stigmatization. Because if you don't stigmatize, they can come to someone and say, look, auntie, I have a problem. I need help.
Yeah.
But the challenge in Nigeria is, who do you turn to?
Yeah.
And then when you turn, you leave and say, omoye.
Doctor, aside from sleeping, I see some of them swimming in gutters.
Oh, yeah. They don't
Hanging on
know.
the tree.
They don't know.
They don't know.
Because at that point in time, they're not themselves.
They got, absolutely. He doesn't know where he is. He has lost contact with consciousness. So the things they do are just dictated, and then they just do it either to burn energy or to do something. They don't really know what they're doing. If you see many of them, you feel sorry. You feel sorry with
Right.
what they do.
So, so I mean, from your points this morning, rather than punish the user, we must begin to get to perhaps punish the point of sales,
Right.
and those who also. But then they also they also have their own modus operandi.
The people, which people?
Those who sell.
Oh, yeah?
And then, of course, those who buy also, sometimes when they get to the last stage of addiction, they also do everything they can
To get it.
So it becomes a survival mode. So I'd like for us to also link this with issues around crime, which also could probably also lead them to do things that ordinarily they would not have done. But because they also need to use, they need to buy, they probably are not working, and so they probably would maim and kill or do certain things to ensure that they get a fix, like they say. So, you know, for whatever reason, is there a link between using or abuse of substances and crime eventually in the society?
Oh, yes, we know there's a link, but I don't want us to create a direct link.
Okay.
That because he uses, he will be a criminal.
Okay.
It doesn't follow.
There are people who actually work and they use.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of people who work in the office, the profession that I said, they go to work and they use. But, you know, the thing is, use also relative.
Right.
Sometimes they use their functional, they go to work, but after a time, they can't perform.
Until
And
they get...
Yeah, and then you see them in the office, and then they're reading up, they
fidgeting,
escape and sleeping and making errors and all the rest. But you see, the thing is, I'm trying to be careful that we don't lead Nigerians to believe that when you use drugs, you're like to be a criminal.
Right.
But there's a higher propensity to work in a criminal tendency. For instance, look, I've been to the joints in Lagos. There's no joint I've not been. I sit with them. They're nice young people. You know, and I have seen, at least with the people that one has helped, many of them have become doctors today. They become all kinds of things. So it is not a preclusion that when they use drugs, they're useless. No, it's not.
Right.
The only thing they need is help. But you said something, you know, for me, and if you notice what NDLA is doing now under General Marwa, there's a limit to punishing the people who use.
Right.
It sends them to rehab, helps them, they can be helped. But the people that he's pursuing
Focused about the
are
barons,
the
barons, of
you see,
course.
but the thing is, the barons are difficult to get.
Because they also indoctrinate these guys, and you sometimes they find it difficult to name the barons.
You see, the thing is, they don't even know the link. You see, it's a chain. It's a chain. So he is only at this periphery. This is person relates with it. He knows that, but he doesn't know who that one relates to, and
doesn't know the dawn.
And you'll be okay if you will follow what happened in Panama many years ago. General Noriega, he was the head of state of Panama, and yet he was a king. He was a drug lord
Right.
until he was later jailed. So people who are barons are high up in society. And we are the people, that's why I worry about our value system. When you say billionaire, I ask people,
What's
what
the
do they do?
source?
What do
What's
they
the
do for a
source?
living that I've never done?
Yeah.
And I'm not a billionaire, I'm not even a millionaire.
Okay, yeah, 8,000, yeah.
As parents, as a society now, what are those key signs that actually pinpoint to us that, okay, somebody is behaving or is addicted to a particular substance? Because oftentimes I see young men and women in the sun and they are hooded. They are putting on socks. And I'm beginning to wonder, is the weather cold?
You see, that's also why we need to be careful. You are profiling.
See?
Because it doesn't,
It doesn't ordinary. It doesn't mean that this person.
There's also this today element of fashion that people are, but normally most of them don't even use. You understand? But that's what they choose. I mean, when they wear some things, I ask myself, what the kind of dressing is this? But hey, as long as they live right, I don't worry myself.
So what are those signs that we can see?
I'm glad that you linked something, which is parents. I keep saying it.
We have to go back to the
Oh,
home.
yes. Parents need to be parents again.
Yeah.
Most parents don't know their kids except the names. They don't spend time with them. They don't,
Ask questions.
they don't ask questions. How many men, Jibala, how many men go to Parents-Teacher Association meeting of their children's school? How many men?
Doc, please loud it.
They don't. They say it's not a woman's duty. If you look at
they call the parents anyway. They didn't say mothers association.
And so that's where it starts from.
Right.
A father does not know his son, but his friend's son wants to read medicine. Then he says to his son, Jide, I went to visit them, he's reading medicine. Why can't you? This boy is very good with arts.
Right.
And then we lure them. I keep giving examples of Wole Soyinka. Wole Soyinka read literature. There's no country of the world that he's not known.
Right.
His younger brother taught me in medical school. You don't know him.
Yeah.
Professor Femi Soyinka. And so it is not about what you read. It's about what you make or what you have read. So parents need to wake up again and begin to understand. You see, you think these young people don't have issues. They have issues. Sometimes they want to talk to you about it.
But you're not there.
But you say to them, come back. And when you call them later, they say to you, Daddy, I've solved it.
Right.
And you never ask, how did he solve it? So for me, parents is but what I say to parents is this: the moment you notice an aberrant behavior, a deviant behavior, begin to worry.
Yeah.
But you know what happens to us? We don't know our children when they're growing up. You begin to want to know your child when he's a teenager. It's too late.
It's already formed.
It's already formed.
Right.
You've missed. So the thing to do is, as they're growing up, you are familiar with them. You can't be their friends because you can't do the things they do.
Yeah.
But to understand them. Why does he like to do this? And query them and let them be able to also discuss with you.
Right.
And your son says, I want to read English. I say, what the heck, English? Well, ask him. And then
Why?
I also tell young people, because you don't even have the pros and cons of what you want to do, you think your parents are old. I'm old school. It's not true. They themselves don't even know. So,
right. So it's a two-way
it's a two-way relationship.
thing. So, right. So
but
parents
must groom it.
Yeah. So parents must learn to again be a safe space.
Absolutely. I'm talking
the
to somewhere
children.
about creating safe spaces.
Be a safe
Sometimes.
space. So
It
you
is.
should be able to speak to your parents, no matter how bad the situation is, no matter how good the situation is. And parents must also not be judgmental. A lot of Nigerian parents are judgmental, and then you have even done a lot of judgments before your child even speaks to you. And so it's important. We've talked about parents. Now let's talk about government policies, because again, you run an NGO. And I remember, if we go back to where we started this conversation from, I did ask, where are we? And you said we're near an epidemic when it comes to this particular issue. Government policies are also able to help direct a nation as to where you want your drive to go to. What are the current policies? We know NDLA is doing a lot, but then, like you said, NDLA is not enough to take care of the challenges that we do have. Well, for government especially, I don't even want to concentrate on the federal level. Let's look at the local and the states, because again, sometimes they need to be more direct with their approaches to these issues. What would you love to see
Yeah.
state government and local government do more to address these issues? Because if you look at them broadly, we probably will come back to issues around unemployment, come back to issues around insecurity as some of the things driving young people to this issue. But on the overall, what would you like for government to concentrate on in addressing these issues that we have on ground?
We know, I like to be very blunt.
Right.
I'm not sure that the government wants drugs eradicated. I'm not sure.
Okay, so this is your personal opinion.
That's my personal view, and I'll tell you why.
Why?
During electionary campaigns, who do they use? Do they use their children to campaign? Of course not. They go to the drug joints, feed them with all kinds of, put them on there. Who are the thugs for them? So the thing is, look, I've said it a number of times to many of them. I sent a message to one of them, a speaker of who's, he never replied to the. You see, the thing is, there must be a will.
Right.
There must be a will to do something. You know, the thing is, I think the governments are carried away. Oh, we have NDLA, so why? No, it's not true.
Right.
You mentioned a few things. If, for instance, we sit down as a people and understand the fundamentals of how drugs happen and all those things, and then we'll create the space for these children, and then we let them. In Nigeria, is there any consequences for bad behavior? There's none. The value system is gone. So you look, and then so it dovetails. It's not about just policy. Policies are good,
Right.
but what about the implementation
Who
of the
drives those
policies?
policies?
So for me, I think, as you said, the state and local government, because they're closer to the people, should begin to understand. If you go to certain areas of Lagos, then you, and about this time, you see them sitting and drinking, and then you wonder. When this woman, the NAFDAC woman, Professor Adeyeye, said she would like to ban the sachet,
Yeah.
who were the people who said no? National Assembly. Because they didn't understand. You see, they're just there, with due respect to them. They're there, they do not understand the people they represent. The thing is, the woman did not say ban alcohol.
Right,
She said
the
ban the
sachet.
sachet. Because the sachet makes affordability,
easier.
Right.
and you find it everywhere. And go and check, excuse me, go and check the sachet. Read the label on it. Excuse me, you'll be scared. Some of them,
The percentage?
called bitters, the percentage of alcohol is huge, 42%.
On the small sachet.
On the small sachet. So there was somebody, they call it Fenuja or something. They take it first thing in the morning, and that's the next thing. You see, so policy is good. Oh, do we have an alcohol policy in Nigeria? We don't.
No.
We even if you do,
We'll
how do you
drive
implement?
it.
People go to the to pharmacies and buy these drugs, tramadol,
Yeah.
injection pentosuzine. You can buy it on the
On the
street.
counter, right.
So
Okay. I'm still
Sorry.
going to take you back to my former question. The signs.
Right.
If you're a parent,
okay.
what are those signs that can actually show you that, okay, a guy or a lady is addicted to some kind of substance, and what are the kind of treatment and rehabilitation that is available in Nigeria presently?
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, I get carried away when it comes to drugs. You see, the thing is, I said to people, you know, I'm careful also that you don't see one or two and say the person uses drugs. It comes from deep observation over time. Reddish eyes, uncaring postures, their dressing, the way they talk, the way they relate, abusive, rude, and all the rest. Dropping grades in school or poor performance at work. Somebody who used to be neat and then begins to change. And then somebody, absenteeism is a, truancy is another. And also strong perfumes. When they begin to wear strong perfumes and also
Trying to
begin
hide some smell.
and some sweets with strong menthol. I mean, those are some of the signs. But I'm careful to say because someone you see one or two,
Right.
it means that the person uses drug. So that we don't profile. The thing that is important is how much do you know your children?
Right.
And then so when those things come, they say, Alagwa, when did you start doing it? Or they spray their rooms on, they want to be alone. Or somebody used to enjoy football. We sit down in the sitting room and then suddenly begins to say, I'm an introvert, I'm withdrawing, I like my space. In your father's house, you like your space. And I say,
There's something going on.
and there's something going on. You lock your room and carry your key in your father's house. Go rent your place if you want that kind of privacy. But in Nigeria, Today, we are getting a bit of help, but it's little.
Yeah.
In terms of treatment?
In terms of treatment, the first thing that people do as an error, they go to psychiatric hospital because of the presentation.
Or they go to church.
Or they
Oh,
go to
Jibola.
church. Those ones are even the ones that are, or carry them to one baba and then they tie them down, beat them with
chain
brooms and chain.
yeah.
And those are animalistic. You know, we need to understand. The acute phases, I know parents don't know what to do. They can go to hospital and then the child can be helped and then they can then
Refer.
move them to rehabilitation home. There are a few rehabilitation homes going on. I've been running one for many years now. But the help you get is so little. Nobody wants to help you. Nobody wants to give you stuff. No, I mean, because people still see drugs as something. As somebody who uses drugs, he made his choice to use it. It's not true.
Sometimes
So
factors drive
empathy,
you to,
empathy helps. Love and second chance. And when I say second chance, I don't mean second. I mean second chance could be the fourth time.
Yeah.
Because you never know.
Yeah.
You never know. So the opportunities are there.
Yeah.
The opportunities are there.
Before we wrap up this conversation this morning, very quickly, I know you've talked about, the facts that we have little help, but I mean, it's not a total, it's not a total doom.
No, it's not.
There's still, light, like we say, at the end of the tunnel. Do people relapse when they get help from the rehabs? And if that happens, and I think you've actually answered this question somehow when you said a second chance could be actually the fourth time or the fifth time. But I'm asking because some people give up easily and just say, you know what, let him or her, because again we keep saying him, but they're actually her when it comes to these issues as well. So again, going back to the families, how resilient should families be when they're dealing with addicts who might have sought help once or twice and for some reason keep relapsing?
I'm glad you asked the question. In the pyramid, in the tripod of substance recovery, this is the victim, this is the person seeking management, this is the treatment center, hopefully with structures, with plans and all the rest. And then the very important part of the tripod is the family.
Yeah, the support
you see,
system.
people think, I take him to rehab and then you close. No. When the person wants to leave rehab, what are your plans for him?
Yeah.
Do you change? The person comes back, today, and when we begin to say things like that, you remind him of where he's coming from, where he doesn't need any reprimand. People say, welcome back, you're back. So I'm saying it is not the person's only responsibility for recovery.
Right.
So relapse happens when they come, and then you promise, when you come back, we'll do this. And then he comes back, nothing is done. He doesn't have a job, he doesn't have anything to do, and you remind him of the past, then he will relapse.
You're looking at him or her one kind.
Oh, yes, looking
Even
at
if
him
you are
one
not,
kind.
yes.
And Bimbo said something. From the statistics, of every 4 users in Nigeria, one is a female. So it's not located in gender, it's a general thing. But I believe if we change our attitude to people on a general basis, and then we try to, you see, Dr. Claude used to say something when I was in Cadbury. He said, seek ye first to understand before you are understood. Try to understand. I'm not saying be permissive, but I'm trying, why is this guy behaving this way? Then you can quickly find help.
Right.
But people run away, reputation. But how would they hear that my son, I'm a bishop, my son is using drugs, I'm a pamsec. But you know what, finally I would say, was what Professor Ransom Kuti did during the HIV/AIDS. He came out and said, my younger brother died from the complications of HIV. And that changed completely the view of people, and then people came to do. So if we can have in Nigeria somebody top, and they say, my son had drug issue, but look what he is today. Go and read a book written by Hunter Biden, Beautiful Things. Hunter Biden, the son of Joe Biden,
right,
was in cocaine addict for 19 years. Right. But by 2018, he cleaned out. He's married, stayed with his family. So there's the possibility of a rehabilitation that is stabilized if the society understands. So that's what I'll say about relapse. Relapse do happen. When you talk about, people just locate relapse as bad, but they don't know when a diabetic stops using his drug and has a relapse, a hypertensive. You know, today, substance use is classified as a public health issue.
Right.
We should deal with it as we deal with hypertension because it's a recurring,
situation.
relapsing brain disorder.
It's until we begin to see it as a disorder and then begin to act that way.
Absolutely.
Rather than see it as
A criminal.
Yes. We'll have to leave this conversation here this morning, but again, we'll have to take the challenge that you threw at us. This has to be a constant and one that people needs to hear by the day. Perhaps if we also continue to do this, more people will accept the fact that it's the responsibility of everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Dokun Adedeji, for
Always
being
my
here
pleasure.
on the program today. Of course, we've heard from Dr. Adedeji this morning, and you would never know. I'm sure that there are a lot of people watching this morning, and you have to deal with the situation one way or the other. It is not a leprosy situation. I mean, don't treat them like Ajibola will say, he's wearing hood in the sun. All right, there are many situations that a lot of people are actually dealing with. We need to know what exactly the situation is and point them in the right direction to find help. We'll take a quick break. When we return on the conversation, Joy will be here with her Lagos conversation.
The views expressed on this program do not represent that of the producer, management of Lagos Television, or the Lagos State Government. They remain the perspectives of those expressing them. Thank you for staying with Lagos Television.